A lot has changed in more than 50 years of television, but one thing has stayed the same. Next, half a century behind the lens, an incredible look back at a man who helped bring you 7 News every night. In decades of television history, a lot has changed. We've gone from black and white to colour, from small screens to big. But one thing has remained a constant here at Channel 7, a cameraman who started rolling in 1972. And now, after half a century, Ray Raab has recorded his final frame. He's worked here for 52 and a half years. He's the longest serving employee at 7 West Media. And tonight we want to share with you his life lived behind the lens.
A boy, 16 years old, earning $29.50 a week. His first job.
Here we go.
That would become his life's passion. Ray Raab has only ever known Channel 7.
But back then it was just I was ready for a major adventure.
52 years behind the lens, capturing history as it unfolded in front.
The rest of Australia did not know of the tragedy.
This is what news looked like when Ray started.
Darwin is just flattened. There's 40,000 people without a home.
Just 2 years into the job, Darwin decimated by Cyclone Tracy.
You couldn't get a car. There were no hire cars. Everything was gone, like everybody had taken. And so we went to a car dealership, and the only thing he had that was roadworthy was this Holden without a windscreen. And we used to put our sunnies on because when it started raining, that was the only way we could keep driving.
It's not the only devastating deluge that lingers in his memory. This was Brisbane, 1974.
This is the most depressing sights I've seen.
Another city changed forever. Lives lost. Rain that wouldn't stop. Ray was there with a camera.
We were in a boat going over houses, looking down, and it was an eye-opener.
From the destruction from Mother Nature's fury to the tragic consequences of a man-made catastrophe. Australia's worst rail disaster when a commuter train derailed at Granville in Western Sydney.
Just utter shock. I don't think anyone could get their head around it.
Rescue scenes never seen in this country until Raab's started rolling.
And I remember picking the two-way radio up and calling the newsroom and said, get every crew you've got out here. This is big. And I spent 4 days on and off on that.
Assignments that often led to unexpected situations.
Cameraman Ray Raab and myself have effectively been placed under arrest.
To actual crimes that were hard to comprehend.
2 men were blown to bits.
The Hilton Hotel bombing in 1978.
I think it's probably the first terrorist attack. And you felt for the people, 2 garbos just loading up the back of a truck and a bomb goes off, 2 innocent people killed. That's the sort of thing that you remember.
This wouldn't be the last explosion he'd cover. Bali, 2002. Death, trauma, total horror. Alongside reporters Paul Kadak and Reese Whitby, witnessing a nightmare.
Devastation from what seemed like miles. You couldn't believe just the magnitude of that bomb. I remember going through the morgue and seeing the people, what was left of them, And the smell, you never forget it. You just learn to deal with it,
A steadfast dedication to storytelling, on the ground and in the air. Countless hours spent in the news helicopter.
Oh, that's my favourite toy. That's the only reason I still work at 7. Mate, there's some force behind that one.
The Kelmscott and Rolly Stone fires, like nothing he'd ever seen before. One house after another.
Look at that black smoke there doesn't look good either.
That's Rabi's voice you can hear.
Oh, it's just a magnitude. Just unbelievable.
Most people run from danger, not in this job.
It was the gunman. He came out of the bank with the 5 hostages, all men, at gunpoint.
Walked out of the place holding a gun to someone's head. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was watching a movie. I actually had to keep looking in the camera to make sure I was rolling on it.
Often tense situations in the pursuit of truth.
Settle down, mate. Settle down. Hey.
Where reporter and camera operators suddenly become more than colleagues.
It was at this the most dangerous time when cameraman Ray Raab and assistant Brendan Shaw were almost trapped while filming.
Each other's eyes, watching each other's back.
Driving up onto the footpath, hitting Channel 7 cameraman Ray Raab on the leg.
What I love about the business is the camaraderie amongst people. We go to some places that, you know, you sleep on the floor in a car, or some days you don't even get any sleep.
Bradley Robert Edwards is WA's Claremont killer.
Few people have followed stories that span decades. There, when the body of Kira Glennon was discovered off a narrow track in Eglinton, one of the 3 Claremont killings that haunted our city.
Did you ever think it would be solved?
No.
It's not all grim. There are memories that will last a lifetime. From Prime Ministers...
I've filmed every Prime Minister since Billy McMahon.
A standout favourite.
Oh, Bob Hawke, by a country mile. He said, "Come on, Ray, grab your camera." And he walked out. He went up to the school kids and he said, "Where are you guys from?" And they were from Poland, I think. And he said, "You know how to sing Waltzing Matilda?" And they went, "Yeah." And he said, and then they just broke into singing Waltzing Matilda. And there's Bob directing the whole thing, you know. And he looks at me and he's with a big smile and he said, "You got it?" And I said, "Yes."
To meeting music idols.
To think all these years later, one day you spend a couple of hours with Paul McCartney and Bob Geldof in a studio, you know, like that was special.
Another standout, Dire Straits.
It allowed us to record the build-up to the show and part of their mighty performance. Morris Parker was the reporter, the cameraman, Ray Raab.
I said, "Oh, any chance we can go on tour with you?" And he just looked at me and says, "Yeah, go do it."
6 years with current affairs program Terry Willacy Tonight. A ticket to the world. In this line of work, you only get one shot at history. No second takes.
As day turned into night over Exmouth.
We've got a satellite truck behind me that beams the pictures back to Perth live.
Unwavering energy and enthusiasm has made him a firm favourite with reporters, especially at grand final time. 2018, a standout. Told to lay low after talking their way in, Raab's right at the front.
Mate, you've got to get into the spirit of things.
His humour and heart always shining through.
They've only just worked out there in Melbourne. I'm in touch with the weather, mate. What's your problem again? The weather?
Chances are you'd hear and see him.
Slap it together.
Hold it. I'll tell you what makes a good sandwich.
The job has changed, especially technology.
It's also made our life harder, much harder, because there's more demand on us. And we're racing against time constantly.
Forever evolving, choosing to embrace it.
And getting a buzz out of the young ones, teaching the old dog how new tricks, you know.
But there is one constant.
Oh, human emotions never change. Suffering never changes.
Raab's retirement marks the end of an era here at Channel 7, but he'll endure in the countless stories he helped tell and the lives he impacted along the way. Raab leaves behind a legacy of excellence, integrity and dedication to the craft, passing it on to the next generation.
One of the reasons I stayed in news for as long as I have is I think it's really important that people have you need a good media organisation, because somebody's has to keep people accountable, whether it's politicians, big business, whatever it might be.
Raab's is a story that will be told for years to come. A 7 News man to his core, and now a core memory for everyone he worked with.
I like to think that I left the place in a good stead, and I'm not sure. You got me there.
Lost for words. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought?
Jordan Katz, 7 News.
What a beautiful tribute there for an absolute legend, Ray Raab. We wish him well.
He is an absolute living legend, Tim, one of the all-time greats. I'll tell you what, the Eagles could have used him out there today because they were awful.